Good morning on the 29th of December 2023. I'm sailing between some of the islands of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I've been in the Caribbean now for about 6 weeks, and I'm moving up to an island called Bequia for New Year's Eve. I'll show you where I've been since I arrived in the Caribbean and where I'm heading to today. So hopefully all clear on the chart plotter, but the Caribbean arcs around this group of islands up here is known as the Windward Islands because they are to the windward side. From about Guadeloupe around, this is known as the Leeward Islands because they are downwind or leeward. I arrived in Barbados a few weeks ago. I then sailed by myself down to Grenada before moving up into Carriacou and into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And today I'm sailing from Union Island to Bequia for New Year's Eve. We arrived into Barbados on the 25th of November, just over a month ago, and we anchored in Carlisle Bay outside of Bridgetown. One of the first things that we did was replace the alternator. So the alternator charges the batteries on the boat from the boat's Beta 38 engine, and we'd noticed during the crossing that the amps going into the batteries were a little bit lower than what they should be, and in fact the voltage at which it was charging was getting quite high. So for a 12 volt system it should charge at sort of 14.3 volts, but we were seeing it spike up to 17. Now Stephen is a marine engineer, and I had discussed this with him prior to the crossing, and in fact we had bought and brought with us an entire spare alternator. So we set about taking the old one off, replacing the new one, and we did have some challenges along the way, removing some of the bolts holding the old alternator in. I've actually come to Barbados with a stowaway on board.
Please, this is not my most flattering angle.
It's been hiding in the cockpit locker for 3 weeks as we try and remove the alternator. And I'm here offering encouraging words and just dripping sweat onto Stephen. Come on, come on. I think that might be it. I highly recommend VG Marine for all your marine needs.
He'll even come out to the Caribbean with you.
Even come out, house calls to the Caribbean.
Here you go, 2 days. Get that out.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Let's not suspend.
So again, a huge thanks to Stephen for helping me remove the old alternator. With that bolt removed, we were able to get the alternator off, and the new one is on and charging at the right volts and the right amps. So that's a brand new alternator which should see this boat going for the next decade or so. A rather unusual event that happened while we were in Barbados was an earthquake that occurred just off the coast of Bridgetown. And so we didn't feel it because we were in the back of a bus, but a lot of people did, and for a few hours there was concern over a tsunami, but that proved not to be the case.
There have been no reports of injuries or damage from a 5.1 magnitude earth tremor which shook the island this morning. According to meteorologist at the Barbados Met Services, Andrew Daniel, the quake occurred to the south-southwest of Bridgetown just after 11. Mr. Daniel has urged Barbadians not to panic as there's no threat of a tsunami triggered by this tremor.
So after a week in Barbados, it was time to say goodbye to Stephen. Again, thank you so much to him for all of his help in the Atlantic crossing, and for all of the mechanics and engineering that has gone into making Telemachus so seaworthy and so reliable. After leaving Barbados, it was time to sail on my own again. I was able to rig the spinnaker pole and re-establish that downwind goose wing mode that I explained in the Atlantic crossing video. So I was able to get that pole out on my own, I was really pleased with that because it's quite heavy and there's quite a lot of lines attached to it. So I managed to get that rigged on my own, and we had an excellent 24-hour solo sail from Barbados to Grenada. So after leaving Grenada, I continued to head north, beating most of the time. Visited some amazing places along the way. I went to Rond Island, which is a almost deserted island next to an active underground or underwater volcano. That was a lot of fun. Went to Union Island, and I went to Tobago Keys. Tobago Keys is world famous for the clarity of its water, the snorkeling, and just the incredible scenery of the boats anchored in the turquoise water. From Tobago Keys, I actually turned and headed south again, down to Petite St. Vincent, which is close to Grenada, but is still a territory of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And there I met some friends, some Norwegian lads on their boat Tortoise, and they'd invited me down to spend Christmas Eve with them, which was fantastic. Would highly recommend a Norwegian Christmas Eve feast on a boat in Petite St. Vincent, and we took some time out to take the dinghy and visit a very small islet nearby called Morpion Island, which is just a sandbar surrounded by a tropical island reef. And we took the dinghy in there, and we're really fortunate to have it all to ourselves for the afternoon. So that's all for now. Just a quick update on where we've been. I just want to thank everybody who has watched the Atlantic crossing video and subscribed. That's very, very kind and very generous. I forgot to mention in my previous video that I am raising funds for Alzheimer's Research UK in memory of my grandfather, who passed earlier this year from dementia-related injuries. If you are interested in supporting Alzheimer's UK, they're a fantastic charity. If you are interested in supporting Alzheimer's Research UK, I'll include a link to my donation page below. So that's all from me. Wishing everybody a fantastic New Year's and all the best for 2024. Take care.